Morning everyone, Nimby here. This morning we're going to continue on with our Muddler Minnows. And do a giveaway later for these two. So Happy New Year everyone, it's New Year's Eve. Hey Robert, good to have you in, mate. Happy New Year's to you and your family, eh? Just give me 2 seconds, I just gotta get part of my stream set up here. There we are, okay. Yeah, if you're just joining in, we're just going to be doing some Muddler Minnows like we did yesterday. Unfortunately, I think Robert missed our tie yesterday, so there's the muddler that we tied yesterday. I'm super happy with him. So this is a traditional, absolutely as classic muddler as I can get. It even has like 100-year-old gold foil on it. So this would be basically what they were tying in the 50s. And we're going to give that guy away at some point in the stream here. Muddler Minnow is awesome. It's like, Muddler Minnows have a lot of personal gravitas for me. They're arguably one of the more difficult flies you can tie. Just with each step is a more difficult step. They're all different, so it takes a lot of different skills wrapped up into one fly. And they're just kind of a lost art skills because most people just don't tie these flies anymore. Not that they're not useful and they don't work, they certainly do. But there's more modern materials and more modern methods have led to easier ways to tie minnow and sculpin patterns. So you have things like game changers and hollow flies and different type of sculpins. So this one's a little bit of a lost art. I think if you can tie one of these and tie them well and tie them consistently, you're a good tyer in my books for sure. These were kind of yeah, thank you. Yeah, I changed your guys's little dudes up a bit, so hopefully that's okay. I kept Yoshi as the green kangaroo. Hopefully you're okay with that, Yoshi. I just always thought it suited you good. So I left yours as a green kangaroo. I changed Robert's up to a kind of orangey brown raccoon because I thought that suited him well. There's the old muddler before we start tying this one in. Sorry, you can probably see it better this way. So it's got a gold foil body with a gold rib, and that's close to 100-year-old wrapping, if not more so. It's got a oak turkey modeled tail and overwing, and whitetail, Arkansas whitetail. Yeah, they were a little bit random, and some of the colors were a bit weird, so. And I gave Yoshi the what'd I do? Oh yeah, I left Yoshi as the green kangaroo. So if you want something different, Yoshi, let me know. I can switch you up to a different animal or different color. I got that set up now. I can do that relatively easily, and it'll change. It should remember what you are when you log in. But in either case, if anyone wants a different color, different animal, different hat, let me know. Okay. And Muddy Waters, I changed him to a little penguin with a hat because I thought it was cute. I just did that for regulars that come in. Some people had some odd color and animal combinations because it just randomizes them. Yeah, exactly. I try and keep them like decent little animals. At some point, I'll draw up some more and add some more pixel art stuff. I got to be careful and not use copywritten pixel art, which is super tempting because there's just gobs of it out there, right, from old video games and movies and different things. I could really throw anything in there, but... So, what we're going to be using are these beautiful things. Mottled turkey quill. Really kind of hard to get now. Not that they're extinct, not that they're endangered or anything. It's just, at one point in time, this is what all the turkeys that we bred look like. Then we went to your regular kind of dark brown black turkey with the, classic turkey tail that you see on all the stuff. But in the 1900s to about 1920, 1930, this is what all our turkeys pretty much look like because that's what we had. And it was the native turkey for the area and everything like that. But just like people like white bread now, not brown bread. Yeah, I know. It's like this was sold as a match set, but they're not exactly a match set. They're close. Like, they're close enough for me. But they were sold as an actual match set. I do have better match sets, but we're just going with what I got here. So this is a more modern one. This one's about 15 years old, from Wapsie. They're a premium now. I mean, you can easily pay over $20 for a match set for these wings now. But I have gobs of these because I feel really lucky that I have gobs of these, but I got a bunch of these. Oop, that's upside down. Where I got dozens and dozens of these matched feathers from the 60s and 50s from a fly tying shop that closed down. So, super happy for that because they're just really hard to come by. All that being said, you don't need those. You can tie them with regular turkey quills. You can tie them with hen pheasant. Makes a wonderful substitute if you're tying them on smaller sizes. If you're tying big sizes like this, you kind of have to go with the turkey tail because you need the length of the fibers to go across the hook. Like, even these are getting kind of, just on that edge of being usable. I have a number of, so we're going to do a little bit different today on this one. I'm going to show some more modern techniques to tie this fly. The one I tied yesterday is your box standard, absolute classic. This is how you tie one of those classically. I'm just going to adjust my camera a little bit so to focus here. Focus you. Yeah, it looks okay. Hopefully that looks okay for you guys. So we're going kind of a little quicker and dirtier. So if you were going to tie this for your own box, or you're going to tie this as the kind of stuff you're going to see in the fly shops, it's going to be a lot quicker and easier and just faster to tie. And I'm going to be using some of the material that was actually waste material. Yeah. Look like sadness. That's a great way to put it. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to be using some offcuts or some waste material from yesterday's fly. So like this one here has a little bit of damage to the tail there. But the kind of point of today's flies is to show you that you don't necessarily have to be using that. You don't necessarily have to be using like the absolute classic materials because honestly they're really not easy to source and they're expensive. Like the materials that went into that fly are probably over $20, like just for that one fly. So, but it's all good. I mean, I've been sourcing them. I didn't pay that for them, but like if I was to sell the materials separately, the gold foil wrap actually is gold foil wrap, so it's not inexpensive. Um, Either way, I'm not like bragging about the material costs on there. It just is what it is. Hey, Maddie. We're just tying up some more muddler minnows this morning. But I'm doing more of a, not a classic, but more of a modern muddler style today. And we're going to be using up some of our waste material just to show that you can do these patterns with some material that's not, you know, right on the button, right? Sorry guys, one second. My dog really wants to go outside. Be right with you. Sorry about that. It's ripping cold outside, so if he wants to go out that bad, he probably has to go really quick. Hey, so we got our thread tied in. I'm going to be tying the thread in here the same as I would tie in a classic. I'm just leaving myself a little bit more room here with bare shank. So we're going to tie it in about a quarter of the way in. So you got 3/4 of thread base there, and just a regular standard thread base, and then about 3 or 4 wraps at the end where we're going to be putting our tail in. Tail placement is fairly important. You want to make sure it's right at the barb of the hook, and then we'll be tying it in from the barb back to about between the barb and the point there. Yeah. Whoop. Don't drop the material, Nimby. Come on now. Jeez, you're entertaining the people. What are you doing? Okay. So, for the tail this time, last time we used 2 quills, left and right. This time we're just using a single piece. A lot of times when you find these in the fly shops, they're just going to have a single tail. They're not going to have a doubled up tail. Traditionally, you're going to have a left and right side tail cup. So we're going to pop her on here. We want to do it the working length of the body, so 3/4 of the body length. So a good sized tail, because this is supposed to represent a fin. We're going to tie it right on top. And again, this one has some damage, so it might cup up on me. But again, if you're buying this stuff in the fly shop, that's probably what you're going to find, like just being honest with you. It's not going to be an absolutely perfect tail. I'm just going to go up. I'm going to get it in my hand there. You can see it's loose. So I'm doing a soft pinch wrap. The most important thing is that I bring the line back down, and the line gets to the other side right where I started. So let's try that again, because I did not do that. There we go. And if I have that in the right spot, this is another reason we want to start our feather at the barb. As I can see, my line is hanging at the barb. So I know without looking through my fingers that I got it lined up fairly well. If you don't have that lined up well, it's going to kink the feather and you're going to end up with a weird looking wing. So if your wings aren't, or in this case tail, but it's basically tied in the same as a wing, then you would, you just want to pay attention to that placement if your wings are ending up all weird and wonky. Okay, so I'm going to pull this straight down with even tension and not let go with my fingers. Keep it crushed and let the thread do all the work, and just pull it down. I can feel it between my fingers, and eventually I'll get to the bottom of the hook. And we're going to do 3 wraps after that. I could feel that crushing on the way down. It actually crushed pretty well. This is actually the damage I was pointing out with the feather. But again, at a fly shop, this is kind of what you're going to get. You're not going to get the most premium That actually doesn't look so good, does it? Okay, maybe that one was a little bit too on the damage side. You can see how it doesn't want to cut back together. The reason for that, and the reason I cut it out in the first place, is if you, let me grab the feather here for you. If you're using this bottom section where these wispy bits are, there's less, the feather fibers don't, you can see they don't stick together nearly as well as they do up here. They're all nice in one piece. So this bottom bit, probably about here down, is kind of waste material. You can't really use it. I was gonna see if I could get a half decent tail in there, and I mean that's workable. You'd probably see that kind of thing in a fly shop where the tails are collapsed like that. I was expecting a little bit better. Yeah, I know. Don't touch it, Nimby. Leave it alone. Okay, so we're gonna redo that because that looks way worse than I was expecting it to. And again, it's not my tying technique or the way it crunched down. It's just the feather doesn't have the consistency to keep that up. I'm gonna save it for something else because, like I said, these are special little feathers, and I don't want to waste any bit of them, so I can use that for some nymph legs or whatnot. So now we're gonna go with the same feather. The part I cut off was from down here. So now we're gonna go up to the next layer up here. And we want to cut them off at the gap height. So you can either use another hook to measure out the gap height, because the hook is exactly a gap height right there. You can just push the hook through, and that'll give you a perfect gap height. I'm gonna use these calipers. If you don't have calipers, or a compass would be the proper term in this case, because it has pointy ends on both sides. That'll give me a perfect gap height. If you don't have those, you can use your scissors. You can get your scissors in between your hook, spread them out, hold them in place. So if you're gonna spread them out like that, typically the best way to hold them is actually like this, so they don't crush down on you. Now you can keep them together, and you can measure your wing to be the right size. But honestly, the easiest way to go if you don't have a compass like that is to just use the hook and push the hook through. That'll give you the perfect amount. Okay, so we're gonna use this. Just kind of hoping that other material would work and we could kind of literally, mind the pun, but wing it. But no, it collapsed on me. So as you move up the feather, especially on the flight side, these get thicker and thicker and thicker. Almost to the point of actually causing you some grief, being so thick that they're a little bit harder to tie in. The thicker they are, though, the better the fibers will stay together, especially at the base here. Okay, so we're going to retie this in. This one's much nicer looking. This should give us a nice little tail. So same thing, we're going to measure our working area, which is 3/3 or 75% of the hook shank. Bring that back. Bring it up, soft wrap. We're going to pinch it in our fingers here. Bring it back down the other side. Get it right in the same location. Check that with a drop. So it's like a drop level, so you can make sure it's in the same spot. And then just hold it. Trust yourself. This is like those trust exercises where you push someone off a cliff and go, oh, sorry. And then you pull straight down and just trust that you got your wrap in the right spot and let it crush. You'll feel it when it hits the shank. That's when you stop your pressure and just hold the pressure. Then you can keep hold of the back of it. And at that point you can either do one more soft wrap, which I'll do just for demonstration here, which is probably the better way to go, honestly. Or as you get better at it, you can just do 3 wraps going forward to your eye after that, and that'll lock it in enough that you can let go. Now it's not fully tied in, but it's locked in enough that you can let go. And there you go, you got a perfect little tail butt. And yes, I made that look easy. That is not as easy as I made it look. It will take you a lot of practice. And as you can see, that one's got kind of the same idea, tail butt. If you want less of a hump on it and more of a straighter section, just do 3/4 or so. That if you cut out a quarter, you're going to lose that hump, and it'll just be a nice straight back. So for a lot of minnow patterns and such, you'll want to have a nice little, you don't want necessarily have so much of a hump on there. So just cut your size down a bit and you'll still get the nice tail without the hump. But the hump is the kind of the classic muddler go here. If you have longer fibers, like we're starting at the bottom of the hook here, so our fibers don't go quite as long. If we're more up a bit, we have an extra ½ inch or so, bring us up to here. We can just tie those right in to help build up the body base. I think we're good enough. I'm going to tie those in. I don't think it's going to cause us to have too much of a step. The thing to keep in mind is you do want to have a smooth body, because we're going to be wrapping this in tinsel after. And we're not using the expensive tinsels, but I'll bring it out and I'll show you them. We'll go over that in a second here. We're just using the more modern stuff today, because this is probably what you guys are going to find in the shops or in the thrift stores or in the Hobby Lobbies and all that good thing. Okay, so we got that tied in. Now I want to get rid of this lump that's here, so I'm going to be adding a little bit of a thread dam in front of it. We don't want to make it disappear necessarily, we want to have a transition from here to there. Most of this will disappear because we're going to tie in the rest of our material right there. But if you had a slightly longer or shorter feather, if you have a quite a bit shorter feather, like if you're using a hen feather or a pheasant feather for the tail, you're probably going to end about here. And if you end about there, you're going to end up with a big lump drop right at the point where it's going to be really visible and not really covered by the overwing. So if that's the case, cut it as short as you can on a 45 and try and taper off that butt section. I'm using yeah, I'm gonna do a video. I've been meaning to. It's its own thing, and it's kind of a bit of a lost art. There's not very many videos online. Really cool. Good. Good for you, Z. No, that's fun times. Excuse me. Okay, so guys, we're gonna try and tie this with some modern materials that'll be easy for you guys to find. So we're gonna tie the rib in first before we tie in the body material. For the rib, you can use just copper wire if you don't have gold wire. Copper wire is really easy to get. You can cut up a pair of like an old headphones or any type of electrical wire that's thin and flexible. You're gonna find some really good copper in there. Phone line actually works amazing for that. If you have some old phone line kicking around, because they're already separated and they're not twisted together, you can use something like this with just a Uniflex cord. It is basically like elastic, same as you'd use for wrapping bodies. The traditional stuff is this. So this is your traditional body material. This one's from the 20s or 30s, and it's actually gold plated, and it's really, really sharp. It's kind of hard to work with. It's more like tin that's been plated. This is traditional. Again, this is about the same time period, from about the 40s. This is French uni tinsel, so this is similar to the French tinsel that you see me use, and it's basically just really, really thin gold wrapped on a cord. There you go. Congrats, man. You're halfway there almost. And this is really old stuff. So this one's from the 1900s, probably about 1910, 1920. And you can see how old the spool is. And this one actually has gold leaf on it. And it feels really weird to work with. Like it's hard to explain. It's heavy because it's got lead and gold in it. But it's super soft. It feels like butter. Like it feels like it's gonna just come right through your fingers. Do I have a little cut off of that here? I think I do. Yeah, no, like, and if they're hard to find because they're so old. Yeah, that's the thing. I need to do a couple videos on fly tying storage stuff, because storage is its own animal. It can be hard to store all your stuff. Okay, sorry. So getting a little sidetracked there. So for modern stuff, we went over the ribs there. The other more modern rib, that would be the more classic removal for it, is uni French, olive, and medium. So that's this stuff. So this is the same idea as the really expensive old stuff. It's just a modern plastic mylar wrapped around a thin cotton cord, or this might be a nylon cord actually. But this is, if you can find this stuff, it is a little bit harder to find in your fly shops because it's not as common, generally used for streamer flies, steelhead, and salmon, that kind of thing. But if you can find some of this, medium works for the vast majority of everything. So that's what we'll be using today because it's still readily available. But if you can't find that, or you don't have that, just use copper wire, brass wire. I have my brass wire here. Actually, brass wire like this would work a treat. You can get this in any thrift store. There's the brand on it, but it's kind of punctured in. But it's the fun of the tying, man, not the fun of the skunk. You know, fly tyers are the best skunk hunters in the world, right? Okay, so we're going to tie in some uni French here. But yeah, feel free to use whatever you got kicking around for this. Like this would just be regular brass wire at a good gauge. We're going to use some uni French here. If I can find the end of it. There we go. So I'm just going to take enough for about 2 flies. That should be good. Hopefully I'll get 2 flies out of that. And we're going to tie this in the length of the hook. This will help keep the body even, and it'll fill in this little divot here because we're going to do most of our tying in that spot, and it'll help to even that point out, so we'll have a nice, more even body as well. Come on, buddy, catch in there. There you go. You want to become a nice fly. And it is oval, so you want to tie it in with the flatter side down, or there's 2 flat sides, so just pick one. You don't necessarily want to tie it in on its edge. Not sure why you would do that, but just in case you're new. Hey, from Malaysia. Malaysia's cool. Good to have you in, mate. One of the cool things about doing these live ties is we get people in from all over the world, and it reminds myself that fly tying is a worldwide thing. I get people from all sorts of different countries that are into fly tying. And that's cool. Okay, so we're gonna go super cheap. Cheap. I'm just using this as just Christmas tinsel from the dollar store. Yeah, you can use down feathers. They actually work really good for, like if they still have a bit of a feather end on them and it's more down on the bottom side, you can strip the down off and just use the little feathered end. Those will make wonderful little soft tackles. And the nice thing is they take dye extremely well. So if you have a little bit of dye or even just a Sharpie marker, you can mark them up with a Sharpie marker. Like if you got a brown or green or olive color Sharpie marker, you can color those up and make them into wonderful little nymph legs. You can make them into good little soft tackles. They actually make wonderful little soft tackles. I love finding fly tying material from places that aren't the fly tying shop. Although, don't get me wrong, I love my fly tying shop, and I love going there like Ziggy did and blowing some money and getting some really good materials, but it makes my heart sing when I can find materials. Yeah, you can you can make them whatever color you want. And they are just, in a lot of cases, they're duck feathers. It depends on the quality of your pillow. But in most cases, they'll be goose or duck feathers. So they'll actually be really good fly tying material. The cheaper feathers will be chicken, which still is good fly tying material. You just lose that waterproof coating on them and they're not quite as durable. And chicken feathers are just easy to come by all over the place, so they're nothing super special. Okay, so we got our tie it in there. Come on, brain. Mylar. We got our Christmas tinsel tied in. Now this is super cheap Christmas tinsel. I got a whole bag of it. I got several bags because I love this stuff. But I got a whole bag of it for, yeah, any kind of colored. You want to be careful not to use the watercolored markers though. Like a permanent marker is what you want to use. So an alcohol-based marker. So it'll have that. You'll know. You don't have to necessarily read the package, but when you pop it open and it smells and it has that kind of get you high marker smell, that's what you're looking for. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit here, getting up to that point. There we go. And we'll have a nice smooth body. I'm going to varnish this down. Again, we're not trying to go too crazy here. I'm not making a shadow box muddler like I was yesterday. That muddler I made yesterday, I was trying to be as perfect as I could be with it. And I was really happy with how it turned out. This one, not that I'm not trying to make it turn out, but I'm not going to be spending over an hour tying it like the other one. Hey, Val. Hey. Oh yeah, Val, I changed your little dude to a little bat. I thought that was a little more suiting for you. Hopefully that works out okay for you. So we're going to wrap our, actually I'm going to do a half hitch here just so we can use the rotary. I didn't use the rotary at all on the first one, but we're going to use it on this one just because, again, modern. I'm going to do 2 half hitches to hold my line in. But yeah, Val, I changed your guy to a little bat. I thought that was a little more metal for you. And did I change Luca's? Yeah, no, I changed Luca to, he's still a cow, but I changed him to like a bull. Yeah, good to have you in, Luca. Hopefully you're not working too hard on New Year's. So I'm just going to be hand wrapping this first part because the point of the hook is deadly when it comes to this mylar, especially this more plasticky mylar. So I just want to get those first couple wraps in so I can stay away from that hook point because it will tear at a new one. And we're just going to wrap that all the way up here. So again, this is, I just want to show the difference between some modern materials and these exceedingly expensive. See, there's that spot right there I was talking about. I thought I got it good enough, but we're right at that spot where we had that little bit of a lip. And it's causing the mylar to pucker out a bit. Okay, I'm going to leave it there just so I can use some techniques to get it to pin down a little bit better. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because we can go over a few steps that we can do to get that to fix itself. If we get lucky with the rib, the overwing and the rib will pin that in place, and that's kind of what I'm hoping will happen here. Oh, sorry, Luca. Thank you for that, man. I wasn't looking up. I was looking down at my body wraps. I appreciate that. Happy New Year's, man. Thank you for that. I know you guys work really hard for your bones, so the fact you want to share a bit with me on New Year's means a lot to me. I thoroughly appreciate that. And I think you actually, I think that $10 bumps me up to the point where I can actually cash out my my YouTube amount, so I appreciate that. Good, I'm glad you like the little bull. Yeah, I just changed him up, gave you a little top hat. I figured it was suiting for you since you do the farm work with the cattle and everything. I thought that suited you. Yeah, so we're gonna give away these two muddlers during the stream here. We'll do another battle royale. No, he came in. He's in. He's in already. I grabbed him. All good. Her wife grabbed him. I don't remember off the top of my head. Hey, Muddy. Hey, Doug. Happy New Year's to all you guys. I'm just gonna be hand wrapping this. We could use the rotary. But yeah, thanks, Luca. That brings me up to the payout point, so I can actually grab that out and get some more stuff for the channel. Well, it's actually I'm gonna use that for giveaway money for postage. Come on, stick there. So what I'm trying to do is wrap it up and follow the wraps. Follow the wraps of the previous one, and that should get me right on the ledge here, and I should be able to pin it down. There we go. Beauty. Okay. And this adds a little bit, it does have some actual use other than just looking cool. But having this rib on top of the mylar, and you can add a little whiff. You can add a little whiff of head cement or super glue on that if you want to keep it in place. Then it'll add a lot more durability to it. I didn't do that, so it's okay. You can do it after or before you're wrapping down. It works better before, of course. I think we got most of the people. So I know I mentioned this a few times. We had a few new people jump in here. Yeah, last day. It's New Year's today. So hopefully everyone has or had a good 2025, but if you didn't, we're on our way to 2026, and hopefully that'll bring you and your family a lot more prosperity and just better luck and health. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, if anyone wants to sub or drop a like, that would make me happy. We like the numbers going up. But I'm in here for the community and helping everyone out. Okay, so that looks pretty good. You can see it's a lot more flashy than the older style one. Again, we'll pop the older guy out here. Here, let me get the, since I'm going to be bringing this up all the time, I'm going to stick him in one of my little holders here. Don't mind me, guys. Just be a second here. I'm just moving my flies around so I can get him in the holder and we can see him a little better. There we be. This looks a lot better than having him in the cork. So on the vintage one, you can see that the gold, since it's actually gold, has a more deeper luster to it than the modern stuff. Modern stuff's very bright. But not necessarily a bad thing though, right? Like it reflects a lot more light, and that's the whole purpose of it in that part of the body is to reflect light down. Yeah, we got the whole crew here. It makes me happy. I'm happy I could be part of all your guys' holiday and New Year's morning. Everyone's probably, oh, speaking of which, everyone's probably enjoying a nice tea or coffee. Oh. Yeah, you can see the difference there just between the vintage actual gold foil and the modern. It has a little bit, it's just a warmer. Yeah, that's just box standard, like the modern stuff here that we're using. This is the cheapest you can get. It's literally, here, let me get the bag for you. Just a little bit out of my reach. And I recommend that if you guys have a dollar store near you, this is literally from Dollarama. $1.50 for a giant bag of this stuff. You know, that's like year's supply for $1.50, right? And since it's Christmas stuff and Christmas is now over, if you go to your dollar store now, you can get bags of that stuff for probably 50 cents or less because they're going to be blowing it all out at, you know, half off, 75% off. So now's the time before it's gone. Yeah, it has because it is actually gold, right? So, and it's a little bit oxidized because it's gold mixed with lead and it's plated and everything else. So, since it's so old, it does have a little oxidation to it. Gold itself doesn't oxidize, but everything else they use with it does, which gives it a little bit of a duller look. But you can fix that by just rubbing it with a jeweler's cloth or something and buffing it up a little bit. But yeah, highly recommend you guys pick this stuff up before it's gone. Especially this time of year, you'll get it in silver, gold, red, green, and those are all useful colors. I got a bag of each. And they're great for bodies, they're great for all sorts of different stuff. You can crinkle them up, like if you can buy special crinklers to run them through that are basically just 2 roller mills. But if you don't have those, you can just use like hemostats. You can run it through some teeth in the pliers to give it that crinkled look. And you can use it as flash in your Flashaboo. Lots of different stuff. Okay, sorry. So getting a little sidetracked. So now we got to do the underwing. And the underwing is going to be squirrel. Yeah, hit up Yoshi by email there. And I don't mind if you guys communicate and chat about any of that kind of stuff here, but I understand if you want to keep it personal with pricing. That's totally cool too. But yeah, hit up Yoshi by email, man. Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah, tell me about it. Our power just this last year has been pretty flaky up here. I actually went and for Christmas, kind of our Christmas present to ourselves, I bought a power supply box. I have generators and stuff, but I can't run my higher end electronics like the Starlink and stuff off the generators because the power's too dirty. But you know, you can run lights and fridge and stuff like that on it fine. But I got a Anchor, what was it, 600 watt? I think it was 600 or 800 watt power box. So now when I'm out camping and fishing and stuff, I can bring my Starlink Mini and I can hook it up to that. And we can also use that for camping and power outages so that we can actually run our electronics and lighting and all sorts of things off of it. But I wasn't really too worried about that because our first couple years up here we didn't really have electrical problems, but lately it's been almost like a monthly, bi-monthly thing, which is really annoying. A lot of times it hasn't been the power company's fault either. It's been people turning the telephone poles into parking lots, which isn't a good thing either. But you know, what are you gonna do? Okay, so I'm just cutting this off here. Actually making a nice little hole in my squirrel tail finally. This is a beautiful squirrel tail. I mean, this is the one I saved for my nice streamers and stuff. It's so nice and long. I think they were working on that actually in the crater. Yeah, I know. Squirrels are a really cool animal and they're cool fur. I like me squirrels. My little resident squirrel, I haven't seen her, so I think she's finally passed away. But she's been here the last 5 or 6 years, so she was getting pretty old. She was a beefy girl though, but I think she's finally passed away this year because I haven't seen her yet this winter. There's some new little ones that came in. She's had babies numerous times. And I don't know if it's one of her babies. I'd like to think it is. Could be any squirrel though, it's hard to tell. But she was a big girl. She was thick. Don't mind me, I'm just cleaning out the squirrel over the trash can so I don't make as much of a mess. Oh yeah, I am gonna stack this squirrel. You don't really need to for an underwing. You can totally skip that step. I'm just trying to get all the small broken stuff and under fur out of there. That's not gonna help us at all with the underwing. This is the part that we're really looking for. I don't even know if I need to stack that, honestly. That's pretty straight. I'm gonna stack it anyway. Well, let's stack it and just see if it makes any difference. That's pretty straight though. I probably don't need to stack that. Yeah, coyote tail's awesome. I got a couple coyote tails hanging behind me. I'm not gonna get up and get them because they're up high. There you go. This is actually East Indian. I kind of like this creator. It's in the but it does sound very Viking. I'll give you that. But this creator is East Indian, and he's got a few tracks in here that I really like. But it does sound very Celtic. There we go. Those are actually lined up real nice. Maybe I did need to line them up. Kind of surprised how well that lined up. All right, let's get this tied in. So this is going to be the overwing. So the overwing has a number. The overwing has a number of uses. Oh, good to have you in, Tyler. That is called a hair stacker. You can make your own out of old shotgun shells. Work really good. It just needs to be a slippery material, so brass works well. Aluminum works okay, but it's a little bit more. You want something that's not going to build up static. So if you got some of the old, like brass shotgun shells or a larger shell that you can cut down, they work quite well. They don't need to slip apart like this. That just makes things easier. But if it's shallow enough, like if I stacked it in this, I can just pull it out. So if you have a smaller, like you cut the butt off of a shotgun shell, like a 410 shell works really well because it's not as wide. Or we got like a 40 or something in brass, that'll work well too. Chapstick tubes work really good. You don't necessarily need to go buy an expensive one, and that one wasn't expensive. I had that one forever, and it's like a $3 hair stacker from India. If you're gonna do a lot of stuff though, like buying an actual hair stacker is useful. Um, the major reason that these are better is it's got a lot of weight to it. Like this is substantially, fairly thick brass, and the weight just gives you that transfer of, yeah, 45 long colt would be fine. Just use your imagination. If it doesn't work, move on to something else. Yeah, and you can actually, like, a lot of shells will slip together, which is nice. Like the 410 and what was the size? Was it my 2500 Savage, I think? There's a few different shells that'll slide together real nice. And if you find that, like with a 410, so you can use the 410 as the outer shell. Like this one here, where is it? Like this one here is actually made out of old shells pressed together with brass. One of my old mentors made this for me. So we want this to come right in the middle of our tail there, so I do need a little bit more than that. We want to pack it down like a snowball. So you turn it into like a little hard pencil. So you're packing all those together. We want that to be laying right there. So the overwing has a lot of uses. It's not just to look pretty. Oop, I don't have my thread in the right spot. Come on, Nimby. Get it together here. We want to tie that in right where the body ends, and then we'll tie it forwards. We want our thread hanging right where our thread ends. Yeah, isn't that cool? I like that thing. It's all handmade from one of my mentors, so that means a lot to me. And it's like way overbuilt, like super industrial. It'll last me a lifetime. It's never gonna break. Okay, so I got a soft wrap all the way around it. I didn't really say what I was doing, but I'm gonna soft wrap it, pull it straight down, and I'm gonna do one more soft wrap because squirrel is squirrely. And that'll bind it in. Then we're gonna do 3 wraps forward with medium to high tension. That'll lock it in, hopefully have it so it doesn't squirrel all over the place. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick this up like that. I'm not gonna put too much tension on it because there's only 3 wraps holding it in. I just want to lift this fur up, keep it off the hook. I didn't do this last time when I started talking and it was really hard to cut this off. If you keep it in hand, you can get in there and cut it off without it getting all over the place. I didn't move my waste basket, so this is going to be a mess. It's okay, this whole fly is going to be a mess. Alright, there we go. Oh no! Oh, buddy. Alright, I didn't quite cut through it and I pulled out a whole bunch. Alright, let's do that again. I did exactly what I said I was trying to avoid doing. That's kind of funny. Kind of funny, but not at the same time. Wonder if I can actually just fix this. I thought I cut it, but obviously I was hanging on to more squirrel and I ended up cutting. Let's try and just tie this back in and fix it up. Wax works, it helps. I know, what was that all about? Jeez, Nimby. Come on. Did I muck it up too bad? I'm gonna have to start that over. It's not bad, but it's just bad enough that I should probably fix that. I had it too. It was doing really well there. But let's just pull it off. Let's not be lazy. Clean it up, restack it. Just do it again quicker. Dog, you were just outside. Now, everyone on the stream knows you were just outside. You're lying. You just want another bone. You're totally lying. Don't look at me like that. It's cold outside. You don't even want to go out there. Yeah, I know. I really could have just rewrapped that and just held it up with my fingers and got it back into the right position, but the thing. Okay, there we go. Got some nice white. Stupid squirrel. Got some nice white butts here. It is. I love tying with it. It's gorgeous stuff, but like, oh, is it ever hard to get to do what you want it to do sometimes. Calf tail's a lot worse. Calf tail's just a pain in the butt, but calf tail, again, just like squirrel, once you get it tied in, it looks so good. And there's really no real substitute for it, for how it actually acts in the water, so we use it anyway. Alright, let's do this proper this time. Okay, one loose wrap. It spun a little bit on me there, so I'm just going to check it before I secure it down. It felt good, but I did feel it move a bit. Let's see. Actually, no, it did move a little bit towards your guys' side, but nothing crazy. Okay, yeah, no, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to do some more securing wraps, because clearly I didn't have anywhere close to enough last time. Well, the biggest problem with the squirrel being squirrely, I'm going to add a little rosin here since someone brought that up. Yeah, that's another thing you do is super glue it. I'm not going to because I need to spin that deer hair up front, and if I get any glue on that bare shank, then it will not spin for me. So I'm not going to do that. And the problem with the squirrel hair is because it is so slippy. You can probably see it here, how it slid forward. I'm going to make it work. I'm not going to retie this again. But you can see the original strand where I wanted to bind it down was here, and my strand slid down. So it's not that big of a deal because I only got this first part, but ideally I would have wanted those wraps to be up here. And when I cut this off, I need to have this part here bare to spin the deer hair. So the problem with this is it's going to continually want to slide forward. So before I cut that off, I'm going to do my wraps up here just to hold that in, because some of these wraps are probably going to end up sliding forward. You guys are going to have to wait a second. I'm going to have to let my dog out again. I don't know what his issue is. I just want to get this bound in again. I don't want it falling apart twice. Thanks, Hank. There we go. Okay, so I just walked my thread up. That's way more thread than I wanted there, but I know when I cut this off that it's going to want to slide down, and that's not going to be a fun time, so we are going to do that. So I'm going to cut this off on a 45 as tight as I can in, and then I'm going to wrap those. But why are you moving around so much, buddy? I got you just ripped down there. Come on now. Yeah, we're going to be using a razor blade shortly here, and I could do that here. Sure, why don't we do that? This is one of the flies that I use a razor blade on. Of course, I just dropped it in my tools. 1 second. There we go. Yeah, you can use a razor blade. You just got to be uber careful with your thread, obviously. You don't want to be cutting your thread wraps. Yeah, and they do work wonders for that. You can actually tie, there isn't a single fly that I couldn't tie and prepare with a razor blade. Razor blades are wonderful. The problem is there's no forgiveness to them. If you hit your thread with them, it's going to pop. Okay, so that did exactly what I was hoping it wouldn't do. And slid forward. Now you can see I'm all the way up to the eye. And I'm still need to have it tied back here. Okay, we're going to go with it anyway. Wow, this is so slippy. Look at how much that's spun around. Maybe I should have put a dab of super glue on that. Two seconds here. I'm just going to decide whether I can fix this or... Yeah, you know what? That's not going to work for me. We got to redo that. It's crazy. Like, I've been tying my thread up here. Look how far all those thread wraps have slipped down. I knew they were going to slide a bit, but for them to slide like almost right to the hook point. Yeah, it feels like it. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever had them slide that far before. But let's do this proper, get her fixed up. Yeah, hopefully everyone's excited for 2022, except for property taxes. Yeah, 2019 was pretty good. That was a good year. That was the year of the rat. My squirrel tail is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But it's just an underwing, so we're good. I apologize, guys. This one's really falling apart on me here. Yeah, so I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to do a little bit of rosin on there. I'm going to put a little bit of head cement. Obviously, I need a little more help than I thought I did. Yeah, that's crazy slippy. Like I was tying with this yesterday and it stuck good enough. And that's the year that I married my honey bunny. Right in the middle of COVID when no one else was getting married. That was a treat. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this lump here. I'm going to make a more flat thread base to start. I want to keep that bare section of hook there, but I'm just going to bring this up just a little bit, not making it too much thicker up here. And that'll help it from sliding down as much. And I knew that was going to be an issue when I started, but I figured it was close enough that it wouldn't matter. I was wrong. I'm not going to do half hitch though, because I want to be able to undo that if I need to. And we're going to take a... I should do... Oh yeah, it happens to everyone. I'm not upset about this. This is just part of the whole process. And it can be a little bit annoying when I'm doing like a live stream and it's like, come on man, just work with me. But the good part of doing this on a live stream is that everyone gets to see how to recover from the mistakes too, right? And that's a big part of things. I don't want this to be anywhere near that bare hook. I really, really hope it doesn't slide and make a mess. Because if I get this head cement on that bare part of the hook, the deer hair is not going to spin. And then we got a problem. So this is going to have to be a little bit shorter because I've cut this twice now. Yeah, my wife is super supportive with my tying and I'm very grateful. Not that it's just tying, she's supportive in everything. Ooh, okay, and I forgot to move my thread up. Of course I did. Alright, hold on. Let's move our thread up. Or the whole thing's just not going to be for anything. Okay, now we're going to have to tie this in a little bit shorter because I keep cutting this and cutting this. Running out of squirrel. Alright. I feel like my soft wraps are hitting and they should be grabbing. And we're going to lose some fur, so if we lose some fur, don't panic. We're going to lose some fur. Yeah, that's why I don't mind showing like all the mistakes and challenges, and because eventually everyone that's tying is going to run into this stuff. It doesn't matter how long you've been tying. You're going to run into that piece of feather, that piece of fur that's just going to fight you. And knowing how to come back from it is just as important as knowing where to start. Yeah, that's okay. I'm happy with that. There you go. Good for you, Valhalla. Yeah, this community is awesome. It's super... I can't say enough good things about the bait making tying community. And all you guys are a treat to hang out with. Super happy that you chose to spend some of your New Year's morning, or yeah, New Year's morning with me. I almost say Christmas morning, but no, it is what it is. Okay, I'm just slowly, gently trimming this thing because I don't want to have more issues. But that head cement should be starting to set now. I'm going a little slow because I just want to give it a minute to tie to set in. I'm just gonna medium wraps down. Normally I would not wrap this direction. I'd wrap the other way and get my thread into these fibers here. But like I said, I just want to do everything I can to stop that from sliding forward more than it has. Yeah, this is Muddler. This is more of a modern version of the Muddler. I'm just trying to do what you would probably find in the... We did our classic one yesterday. We're going to be giving these away at the end of the stream here too. There's your classic Muddler. This one's going to be a little bit more modern style. I have a couple really wispy tops there. I'm going to pop those out before I get the wing in. If I can find my tweezers. There. I gotta remind myself too, I got my razor blade on the tying bench and I can't just quickly grab that stuff in there. That would be bad. Never cut myself with one, but I have no doubt that they would cut me if I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, if you don't have good tying scissors or you're just starting out, razor blade, that's the way to go. You can cut and do everything you need to do with the razor blade. I got one little, not sure if that's a squirrel hair or what that is sticking out of there. I'm assuming it's squirrel hair. But I don't want anything in this section here. I'll need bare hook here. Not a lot, just a bodkin or two width is more than enough, but I need to spin that last lump of hair. And it'll spin much better on a bare hook. Yeah, about 2 bodkin widths should do it. Okay, and we only used a single feather for the tail. On the classic one, you have a double left and right sandwiched together so you can tent it. And again, on the top here, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to be doing a single one. So we're just going to use a single wing up top here. That's what we're tying in next. And we're going to tie it in right at the end of these thread wraps. And then our thread, or our wing butt should end up here. Then we'll do our collar on that. We want this to end up, if the feather will let us, which looks like it will, kind of just on the midpoint of the tail, right about there. That should do it. So the underwing, the squirrel, its major job is to support the wing and keep it up from the body. So it's kind of like a lattice work to allow the wing to stand up, because the wing's going to get tattered like right away when you're fishing it, especially with a single wing like this. So I think I got her in there. Okay, just gonna be popping this straight down now. I got a loose wrap around. I'm just gonna be pulling straight down and crushing that right in place. And we'll do 2 wraps or 3 wraps right after that just to hold it in. And that's about as big as I can make that wing, because I crushed it right at the base there. But yeah, that turned out pretty good. If you don't tent your wings, which you can't do with a single wing like this, but when you're in the fly shop, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find single wings. You're rarely going to find a double-winged muddler, just because it's more material, it takes longer to tie, yada yada. So this is what you're going to be finding in the shops, for the most part, at least the shops in my area. And most of the overseas tires, this is what they're going to tie for production tying. And it works just fine. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Yeah, I had one of those, like the nice wire handles for the razor blades. They're expensive for what they are, because it is just a piece of wire. I need to do a video. I need to do so many videos I want to tie. This is a Muddler Minnow. We're doing like a more modern version of the classic. So here's a classic Muddler Minnow. That's the one we did yesterday. We're going to give these away at the end of the stream here. But this one's a more classic one, like what you'd find in the fly shop. So instead of having a double tail and a double overwing, they're going to have a single. You're going to have a modern mylar body instead of a gold mylar body. My head here is getting a little on the bulbous side, but that's just me being overproductive with trying to keep that squirrel in place. No, I'd want that to be about half the size. It shouldn't really affect us. So our first spin of deer hair is going to be on thread. Right here. And this first collar, we're doing this differently than we did the first one, because we're going to actually cut off and trim our collar hair down here where the thread ends. And we're going to have a different look completely than what we'll have what we have on the Classic. It'll be a tighter head, and we'll be able to get it a lot more cone shaped. For the Classic way of doing the head with the two separate bunches will give you a more like a marshmallow, for lack of a better way to say it, looking head on it. So we're just using the whitetail. This is just standard whitetail belly. You want it to be fairly buoyant, as in it when you're feeling it, it feels fluffy, almost like a moose, like moose like the food, not moose like the animal. Yeah, this is just whitetail. You can use mule deer, but the whitetail really does spin better than any other deer hair. The whitetails from the Arkansas region are famously some of the best, apparently. This is just regular whitetail here. I do have some Arkansas whitetail in a pack beside me. And I will say that the Arkansas stuff does flare almost comically more than the regular stuff. And I'm not sure if it's just the more, just the climate, or if they have like a slightly different subspecies there, but I will say that the Arkansas or the AP whitetail is substantially better for spinning. It's a noticeable difference. Surprisingly, I really didn't think it was going to be when I bought a piece of it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually well known for a reason. Sometimes materials just get a hype for the sake of selling stuff and everything else with marketing, right? Alright, so we're getting to the fun part. Oh, the fun part for you guys. The stressful part for me of the deer hair spinning. So again, this one's going to be a little different than what we did yesterday in that we're just spinning the collar and then we're cutting the rest off. We're not working the butts into the head for this part. I'll go give your neighbor a happy birthday for me. So we're just going to pull out Yeah, I don't know I know that there's some method behind the madness. It also has a much different, once I get this out of my hands, because I can't do this while I'm spinning. Yeah, and I don't really know. I just know when I bought a section off Magpie Materials, because he tries to get, Steven from Magpie, he tries to get really good quality stuff. If you guys have a chance to buy any materials from him, everything I bought from him has been premium, like nice. And he's just a cool dude. Just a regular guy like us with a family and a little kid that he just had trying to, you know, enjoy his hobby and make a bit of a living off of it. Okay, so we're not going to worry about the butts on this because we're not using them for anything. We're just using the tips. We want this to go about like mid-wing here, right where the top of the hump is. And we want to slide it through our wing. And I'm going to be grabbing the wing and the body and not letting that spin. We want to work this so that it's right in the middle of the head. Hopefully you can see that I'm covering both sides of the head. I know you can't see my side of the hook, but it looks the same as yours. So I'm not on top of the hook. I have it in the middle. So I'm going to grab it now. I'm going to do a soft wrap. It's a little different technique than we used yesterday. So I'm just going to do one soft wrap, and I'm not going to tighten down on it. And I'm going to give myself the ability to get into my fingers there. So 2 wraps loosely, okay? There is no... Yeah, this fly is extremely technical. It's literally probably one of the hardest flies I know how to tie. Well, anyway. Okay, so we got 2 loose wraps on there. My third wrap, this all has to be one motion, so I can't really show you guys step by step, but I got 2 loose wraps on there. My third wrap, I'm going to let go of this, and I'm going to do my third wrap, and it's going to be in one motion and tighten down at the same time, and it'll spin. So I kind of just have to commit to myself and get it done. So there's a half the wrap. Okay, so now I'm going to spin it. There we go. So you guys got to see that more than I could explain it, because it's really just something you have to just do. And now I want to hang on and hold the wing. I want to get 3 more wraps in here so it doesn't go anywhere. There. Okay. Now, I was actually going to trim all this off, but that actually spun really well, so maybe I'm going to go back on my word here and and keep that, because that actually looks yeah, okay, I'm gonna go back on my word here, and we're gonna keep that, because that actually worked out better than it normally does. Okay, I don't have my hair stacker handy, but just a big pen. Just take the end out. All right. You can use any tube. Some drinking straws work really well, but you're looking for something that's wide enough to get over the eye of your hook, but not really much wider than that. If you have the crystal Bic pens, I do have some around here, but I can't find out where I put it. But you know the clear crystal Bic pens that don't have this insert and it's all one piece? They're quite a bit smaller, and they work a treat for this, and I use that for years. Okay, so we got this done. We're just gonna roll with it because that actually turned out. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is push this back with the pen and just kind of work it. And it's gonna take a few goes. You want to be somewhat gentle with it because you can pop the hairs if you're too hard on it, but you also want to pop it back. And what you're doing is you're packing this back, and the harder you pack this back, the more it'll be like a plastic and it'll get together. So if you see those really nice bass bugs and the divers and everything like that, yeah, and I mean I have multiple different, you know, half-hitch tools, but unfortunately most of them just for this larger size hook, because this is a 4. If I was tying on a 10 or something, these would all work well, but they're all just a little too, yeah. One of the best tires as far as deer hair spinning in my opinion in the world. He's a Swedish guy, and he's phenomenal. Like, he's just like magic watching him work with deer hair. I wish I could pronounce or remember his name. I can't, so I'm not going to try. One of the other benefits I'll just show you quick here of using something like a pen is when you get it pressed back like this, you can get your first wrap in on the pen and it'll slide in right where the hair is. Sometimes that first wrap can be really kind of hard to do. I caught a few fibers there, but nothing crazy. So that is another benefit of using a pen over. Basically, yeah. Not in this way I'm going to be trimming this one up, but yes. The short answer is yes. Oh, come on, buddy. I don't like to have to trim these if I don't have to. If they're going to behave and just play ball. I'm trying not to put thread wraps. Oh, probably. He ties a lot of different stuff. I'm sure if you see like some really just crazy good poppers on Instagram or something, or bass bugs that are really colorful and the colors are super tight together, that's probably his work, because he does some amazing stuff. Absolutely mind-blowing. But he's been doing it for years, and that's pretty much all he does is make big predator flies. So his are generally really large, really colorful. But yeah, he's a cool dude. Anyway, longer story shorter is, even though he's, you know, one of the best in the world at that, in my opinion, he just uses a kid's drinking straw to pack his deer hair. You can go to the store and you can buy loon packers. Of course, every fly shop's gonna have material to sell for you. Okay, so we're gonna do the next part. What you can do with this part, yeah, my favorite one to use, and I used to have it, is the Bic crystals. They're kind of hard to find now, but you guys all know the ones I'm talking about. Like, I used to have at the bank and everything, those clear Bic pens. You just don't see them as much anymore. I know they still make them, and you can probably buy a whole pack of 20 of them for almost nothing. But the plastic is a little bit harder on them, and it's just the end of the crystal pen is just the perfect size for these kind of larger size 6 to size 2 kind of things. Okay, so I'm just cutting off a bit more here. Now with this one, we don't want the ends, we want the butts. So this one we're actually going to kind of do it in reverse. So we're going to be cutting this off. Yeah, the clear ones. And like for my half hitch tool, that's all I used for my half hitch tool for years until I switched to an actual half hitch tool, which is the same one that I got here, this aluminum one. But yeah, probably like 6 or 7 years of tying flies, I just used a crystal Bic pen. It worked just fine for me. It finally did eventually die and crack in half, and I taped it up and everything. Now, if you're gonna use the pen like I'm using, if you want to make a really quick and easy mod to make your life easier, is you can wrap some hockey tape around it, just like you would a hockey stick, and do the, spin the tape, make some grip on it, so then when you can really push into it, and it gives you a lot better grip on it. So that would be a modification I would recommend. Okay, so we're going to do the opposite with this stack. We don't want the tips, and it makes me sad every time I do this because the tips are so beautiful. But what I do when I'm tying a lot of these is I'll tie some comparadons or... Come on, Nimby, don't drop all your deer hair. Come on now. Alright, we're stacking this backwards. Okay, we want the fluffy white tips. So we're going to put it in our stacker with the tips up. And a little part of our sole is going to die because we're going to cut all those tips off. But like I was saying, I normally keep like a couple film canisters around here. I'm not sure exactly where they ended up in my material pile here that really needs to get sorted better. I don't think that actually worked. One second. There we go. Lucas says he's leaving. Sorry, I missed who was leaving there. Whoever's leaving, you have a good New Year's. Yeah, it's a great, ink pens are great tools. I got all sorts. Like my big half-inch tool is just an empty, literally just a metal empty ink pen, but I use that for all my larger hooks. Or if I need to get to like the back of a fly, so I need to get all the way over like to the tail and tie off a half hitch there for some patterns, I got to do that. It works beautifully for that. Okay, so now we got all these butts in order. They don't have to be perfect, but we just want to have all the tips to the front and as much of that fluffy white as we can get. And we're going to cut this right off here. Yeah, most of mine is. Okay, I'm going to cut this off. This will be the last step other than shaping the head, and then we'll get the draw thing going here for you guys. I'm pretty good about keeping my tools together, but like I was saying, like if I'm doing some comparadons or some, there's many flies where we're just using the tips for like the top bit, and we're cutting a bunch of this off. I'll end up with lots of little stacks like this, and I'll just throw them into a container. Because you're going to restack this anyway, right? And it doesn't have to be any length. So why waste it? If you have this beautiful fur, you can keep it in a little container, and then when you're doing muddlers, this is your muddler fur. And you don't have to cry. So we want to keep this about halfway. So what I'm doing here with this is I'm trying to get it about halfway up the collar. So the nice spiky stuff that's back there. So I can use that as a bit of a gauge when I'm trimming this. Okay, and I'm going to pin this hair back because it always wants to become part of this wrap. Okay, you'll have to excuse me for a second. I'm going to have to do more doing than explaining with this one. Come on, buddy. Just pin in there. Trying to get it to pack down enough. It doesn't want to stay. I gotta get it in place without pinning it down too hard, or I won't be able to spin it. And if I catch any of the other fur in there, then it also will catch on that fur and it won't spin. So, kind of the key here is to have two clean wraps and not get stuck on your thumb like that. Come on, boy. Yeah, it's starting to creep forward on me. I'm trying to keep it pinned back with my thumb. There we go. It's hard to do because you gotta be loose enough to get it behind the eye, but tight enough that everything else doesn't flip forward. Ugh, come on now. I got a little rough spot on my thumb it keeps catching on, unfortunately. I just need 2 wraps. Oh, come on, so close. Just get over the hook eye, man. There we go. Thank God, okay. I got 1 at least. Ugh, I got some rough spots on my thumb I didn't file off. So I swear I do more manicure kind of stuff for fly tying than I do for anything else. Because it's a real pain in the butt when it catches on your rough skin. There we go. We gotta look pretty for the fish, right guys? Come on now. I got 1 in there, I just gotta get the other. Oh, I had it and it jumped on me. Okay, come on, I'm gonna pack this back again. I gotta keep the tension off of that and get around that eyeball. I'm kind of making a mess of this, to be honest. There, I got it. Okay, thank you. Oh, I had it. Come on. It's really not that difficult of a thing to do. I'm just suffering with it. There we go. Okay, we got 2 in there. So now that we got 2, I can get the third, and the third has to be all 1 motion. Ugh. Yeah, I normally do, but yeah, that's what's happening. I can show you guys in a second here once I'm done this. Okay, so I got that over. I got my 2 wraps. Now my third has to be all in 1 motion here. So ready? Let's just hope this works. Yeah, it didn't spin quite as well as I wanted it to. I'm not sure what it caught on, but it did catch on something. So I'm just going to work it around with my fingers. It's not horrible. It did about 1.5 turns. I was really hoping for 2 or 3 turns, but it caught on something. But yeah, I just have all this, I don't know if you can see it there, but I got all this rough stuff right here that I really should have filed off, and that's right where my thread rubs all the time. But yeah, like you said, you know, we all got that problem. Alright, so now we're going to pack this back. Yeah, it did okay. Like, it wasn't as good. I knew it wasn't going to spin as well as I wanted it to, just by how it was sticking. I couldn't get the thread on the right point in the eye because it kept sticking on my thumb. But that's not a technique problem, that's a me having sticky thumb problem. So I know better. I should have, like, sanded my skin a bit and used some hand. Gotta hate hand cream, but hand cream. Can't stand hand cream. But yeah, that's not bad. That's okay. That'll work. It looks better on my side of the fly, unfortunately, than your guys' side of the fly. That always seems to happen that way. My side always looks better. Because you're staring at it, right? So you're always trying to get it just right on the side you're looking at. Okay, I'm going to pack that a little bit better. The other thing you can do, too, that I've done is you can drill out this middle section. Or sometimes when you pop them out, you can just make a hole. And then that gives you a nice flat packer, because sometimes you'll want that flat edge. That's why the crystal ones are better, is because they have a much wider, flat... well, it's narrower, but like the difference between the two. Yeah, no, I'm happy with it. It's just when I'm trying to give people direction on things, and it's just not going my way. It's hard to. It's easy and it's hard to teach someone when things are going sideways. It's nice. I don't mind the problems that come up because we all have them, and it's great to show people how to overcome the issues because that's what causes us frustration. But at the same token, when you're trying to show a technique, like you want that technique to be working so you can explain why you want to do it. Oh, I can't stand hand cream. I still use it when I have to, but it's my last resort. I'll try everything else. Just can't stand the feeling of hand cream. Okay, so we got that. I'm gonna do some half hitches now. I'm gonna try this guy just because he's bigger. So the way I do my half hitches on the front on these, and a lot of these for years I just did half hitches. I didn't do any whip finishes. So you just do 2 regular half hitches, and this is just to really keep it from spinning. You want to keep your tension on your line all the time. I did not. I let go there for a second, so hopefully that won't bite me in the butt. So 2 regular half hitches. Second half hitch. 1, 2 twists, okay? So we got 2 twists there instead of 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So this is basically doing a whip finish without a whip finish. Now that third one is always a bit of a pain, and you have to really rock it back and forth to get it to seat. So you'll feel it more than I can show you. If you're doing that, do that on your next fly. Just do several wraps, rock it back and forth like that, and you'll feel it tighten down. That's what you're looking for. So that is fine. You don't need to go any farther than that. That will work just fine. That won't let go. Okay, you don't even need head cement with that, but we're going to do a little bit. So I'm going to do just a whiff of head cement, and I'm going to do a whip finish here. So we're going to do just a little tiny bit. If I get a little on the eye, I'm trying to keep it out of the fur, but I want just a bit on there. And then we'll do the whip finish on top. This is not necessary. I'm just doing this in case we do have people that are anti half hitch people and will only do whip finishing, and vice versa. We have people that can't stand whip finishing and just do half hitches. So just going to do both so we can see we can do that. It's a real pain because you don't want to obviously get the fur in there. So we're just going to be really gentle with it and get 3 wraps in and call it good. Oh, see there, I already got one. Alright, and we got one stuck in there, but we'll trim that guy off. But one is better than a bunch. There we go. That did make my head just a slight bit bigger, but nothing crazy, so there. And with that little bit of head cement on there, that's not going to go anywhere. Oh, it's still dark out, and it's like getting later now. But every day is going to be brighter from now on, all from a few weeks ago. Okay. So there we go. There's a muddler, completely done. Don't need to do anything else. I'm kidding. We need to trim the head. This is the fun part that everyone loves watching, and it's messy as all get out. So on the other one, we just used our scissors. On this one, I'm going to be using my razor blade. And this is one of 2 points in the flyer where the whole thing can just be destroyed, so hold your breath. We're going in. Hey, so this is just a regular old razor blade. I cut them in half. You just bend them, they'll snap. Obviously, be careful. It's a razor blade. And the sharp part. And then I put just some regular masking tape. You can use masking tape or Scotch tape like this. That black Gorilla tape I was looking for, it works a treat for that because it gives it a nice robust area. But the tape's more than enough to give you something to push against. And you just want to curve it like this. Like someone was saying in the chat there, I don't remember who it was, but you can buy these wire things to hold these like this, and they're cool. Don't get me wrong, but I mean they want like 20 something bucks for it. It's just a piece of wire. I would like to make a video on how to make your own, and this will just absolutely pop this stuff. So you got to be super gentle on it, and just work your way around. And what I'm shooting for is just the middle. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where it's like, I need the calluses for wood cutting and other stuff, but man, when you get your line caught on them, it's like, oh, buddy. Alright, so you can see I'm just being like uber gentle. I'm just touching it. And it's starting to take shape as I'm working my way along here. And remember that less is more. You can't put it back on the fly. That was a mistake. Ugh. I have a waste basket underneath this thing, but absolutely nothing is falling in the waste basket. There we go. There we go. That's okay. I was planning on cleaning up after this anyway. Look at that little bugger. Okay, and the hardest part of this is cutting it without cutting that hackle. Yeah, that would be very handy, wouldn't it? Ooh, shoot. Okay, I just went a little too tight, and it had to be right on the top, didn't it? Because that's where I like it to be fluffy. Of course I did. Just got caught on a hair, and I pushed down a little bit too much. The razor blade method, as you can see, is much, much, much faster, but it's unforgiving. If you make a mistake, it's done. Ugh. Speaking of which, I'm going to come in and clean up with my scissors. There's some longer bits in here that I want to trim out. But yeah, the trimming part is another, like most of this fly is a practice thing. You really got to just do it yourself. There's no way that someone can tell you how that feels, but the hair literally just pops when you get it. Like, you just need to just touch it if you got a sharp enough razor blade. It's actually kind of fun. Messy as all get out, but fun. Yeah, either one's fine. The stainless ones are even better in my opinion. Problem with the wire ones. Yeah, no, like I said, if you got the money for it and you got them, use them. There we go. Yeah, like I said, I accidentally cut off some of the top here, like right where I didn't want to cut it off, but it's okay. It is what it is. Can't put it back on. Still looks good though. But I kind of just accidentally just pushed forward right here and took away a little bit of the hackle that I wanted to keep there. See if I can work a little more up on either side to kind of compensate for it. But it's still, like, overall, that's a pretty good looking muddler. Got one or two long guys here. Out with you. Again, ironically, like always, my side of the fly seems to look better. There you go. He's a little lopsided. We'll clean him up in a sec here. So the next part, which will clean this up, is fire. Ugh, okay, this is the next part that always... Really? Oh, that's not bad then. Okay. I haven't seen any like off-brand stuff that would work for that. I'll have to look into that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to burn this very, very gently because we don't want to let our thread or anything else catch fire. This always has me on edge for it, so we're just going to puff this out. There we go. Yeah, no, I can. Okay, whoop. Okay, oh. Okay, come on, buddy. You can do it. You just gotta, like, just touch it. Whew. Okay, it's like toasting it like a marshmallow, but... Oh. I know you can't smell it, but it smells just as amazing as you figure it would. There we go. And it gives it a nice toasted look, so that the trout are like, toasted. But what it actually does as well is it seals the hair follicles up a little bit. Alright, so there's your more modern muddler. Like I said, I took a hair more. I like to have a little more on the top right there, but I hit it. It's hard. It's stressful. But yay. We did it without turning it into like slop. So yay, so there's your more modern muddler, and here's your more classic muddler. So I'm running at the end of my time frame here. I gotta go pick up the kids. But we're gonna do our giveaway here. So if you guys want to be part of the giveaway, all you gotta do is say something in chat. Doesn't matter what it is. You just gotta have your little dude up. As long as your little dude's at the bottom, you'll be in the draw. Okay. And the way the draw is going to work is if I win the draw, this is going to move to tomorrow, and then we're going to have 3 flies. Okay? And we'll do the draw tomorrow. Hopefully someone will win it today. That's what happened yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to give everyone about 15 seconds to jump into the chat here. If you want to be part of the draw, all you got to do is say hello, say, I'd like a fly, please. Say Happy New Year, doesn't matter, just gotta say something and be in the chat and have a little active dude. Okay, so we got Muddy, we got Lucifer, we got Trudge, we got Valhalla. I think we had a few people that had to go off. Do we still got Yoshi in? I don't see Yoshi's little... Yoshi, if you're here, man, say something. Wee Man, if you're here, you gotta say something to be on there. I'll give you a few more. I'm running short on time though, guys. Can't wait too long for you. Rad, I know you had to take off. Sorry about that. Muddy, if you're in there, Yoshi, Wee Man, if you guys are in there, just say something. Oh yeah, Yoshi's back. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, can't wait much longer. I got to go get my kids and such. So let's get this going here. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. If you win for someone, you can give it away to whoever. You just tell me who it is, and if I can get their info, I'll send it to them. That's all good. This is just for fun. Okay, ready, guys? We're gonna go. You're there, Yoshi. I had to adjust the screen a bit, and I made it a bit wider, so a lot of your guys are kind of walk off screen. The screen's a little longer than it used to be. Okay, so you all got little health bars. There's health packs that drop from the roof. Yeah, Yoshi's there. Actually, being on the edge like Valhalla is right now is generally a good thing because you don't get beat up as quick. Oh, there's a health pack. Oh, Luca grabbed the health pack. Okay. Oh, Yoshi got killed. Oh, Valhalla might make it. Someone killed me. We got Valhalla. We got Muddy left. Oh, Muddy just got toasted. Come on, Luca. It's between Luca and Valhalla. Oh, Luca won. Okay, Luca, since you, there you go, little happy dancing cow. Okay, Luca, so if you want to pick who you want to give it to, you're more than welcome to. Or we could move it on till tomorrow if you want to do that. Your call, mate. You won the thing. Yeah, I think this is just a funner way. Okay, cool. That's a good thing, because, yeah, he was second, right? Okay, Valhalla, you're going to get the classic. It's all good. I can send these regular mail, so it's not so bad. Yeah, I agree. Valhalla was really throwing down his. Sorry, I'm dropping stuff here. He was throwing down his Viking heritage there. Yeah, congrats, Valhalla. I've been wanting to send you something anyway, man, so I'm glad you won that. That's cool. So you're going to get both these two flies. I'm going to send them to you. Feel free to hit me up on my email. It's just flytyingwithnimby@gmail.com, and we'll send you these two here, okay? I need your mail and address, though, so send that to me. No big rush whenever you get to it, because the mail's not going to be going for a couple days here with the holiday anyway. So no super rush on that. So I'm just going to do my spin and spiel on this guy like we normally do. But congratulations, Valhalla, man. I'm glad you got that, and thank you, Luca, for bowing down and passing it on. I appreciate that. Yeah, I honestly like the classic one. I wouldn't even really fish that just because it's such a well done muddler. That's kind of something you'd stick in a shadow box. Look at Luca doing the dance. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do my spin and spiel for the fly here, and then we'll call it a day. I'll at least see you guys tomorrow, if not some other time today. Okay, so that's a more modern classic muddler minnow. Or modern classic. That's a modern muddler minnow, like the type you'd find in the fly shops. This is tied on a size 4 hook, 2 or 3 times extra long. It has a mottled turkey wing tail and overwing with a mylar gold mylar body and a uni French rib on it, with a gray squirrel tail underwing and a white AP whitetail for the collar and the head. Fun little tie. Hopefully everyone has a great New Year's. Thanks for joining me. Valhalla won these in the draw, so congratulations, man. Happy to send them out to you. Thank you all. You have a good New Year's. Happy New Year's, everyone. Yeah, that worked out well. I would have liked to not scalp the head. You can see the spot I'm talking about. I took a little chunk out of it right there. But, I mean, overall, it's great. Well, I really appreciate you bowing out there, Luca. Not that I wouldn't want to send you something anyway, but I know Valhalla's going to be really happy to get these, so I appreciate you being honorable like that. Hey, you all have a good, happy New Year's. Hey, I'm going to take off now and go pick the kids up.